Yes. The porosity of our borders is a huge challenge, and like I've mentioned, whatever we do, our neighboring countries too would have to do it. That's the only way we can bring this to an end. But I don't want us to also make assumptions that the suicide bombers came from across or from Mandara Mountains. No, let the investigation reveal what actually happened, because it's very possible that they could have been indoctrinated internally. Yes. The grievances are there. I use the word stressors and shocks. They're there with us, both the stressors and shocks. The level of poverty at the moment, the fact that people have been killed and there is no justice system that had addressed the hatred and the grievance that was generated by that killing. So if I am a recruiter, those are the things that I would look at. I would sit back and say, okay, there's this particular family that is grieving, and then I go and manipulate that family.
Why I'm saying that is, I'm not trying to interrupt you, is because when some of the suicide bombers were arrested in Maiduguri, most of them were incoherent. They didn't even know where they were. They were so drugged up, they were just told to walk towards a place, you know, and just detonate the bomb. So when you talk of indoctrinating them, and then if they're indoctrinated, they will go in fully aware of what they were doing. But in most cases, these suicide bombers didn't know where they were. They were drugged up.
Jumai, let's not isolate issues. The scenario you are describing, it's that the drugging is the last resort, as it were, to reduce failure. Another thing they could possibly do, apart from giving the what did they even call it? I've forgotten the technical name, but the device that sets off the bomb, the explosive. There could be another person within the crowd or away from the crowd, that if the suicide bomber fails to detonate it, would detonate it. So point is, it's a safe guard measure. The drugging is a safeguard measure to reduce failure. But the actual indoctrination takes place. Before you get someone to strap a bomb on herself, and with a child who is most likely her child, you made the level of indoctrination is deep. They would use so many things. They would use grievances, like I said, maybe her husband has been killed or her child. They would do that. Another one they use is cultural component, where women, for instance, are not seen as functional within societies. They now give her that purpose that if you die, you go to heaven, as an example, because you've been able to help achieve that. And then all of a sudden she sees herself. So all of this needs to be understood. I don't want us to sit here and assume, for instance, that there is only one thing, such as the drugging. There are so many things that are put in place before they eventually do that. And like I said, apart from the detonator was the word I was looking for, apart from giving the detonator to the suicide bomber, because there are different types of bombs. One could be where the suicide bomber himself or herself is holding the detonator. Then you will now have someone else who is within that environment, depending on type of bomb, that if the suicide bomber fails to detonate it, he or she would detonate it far away. So there are several things for our public security departments to take note of. What is more important is for them to gather the evidences, go to a lab, try to put together back the bomb, identify how it was, manufactured, who did it. They know it. Honestly, every bomb maker has a signature. Yes. And if you are in the practice, you would know the signature. So once they know, it will be easy for them to say, okay, this is the likely person who assisted in making that bomb. And then, of course, it would lead to a couple of other things. But I want to emphasize the relevance of ensuring that the ordnance department of both the police, the DSS, the military, they go to task to identify these signatures. And of course, in conclusion, at the moment, this is a good period for intelligence gathering if they've not done it before, both from open sources and then from human sources. So their ears should be on ground to pick up different aspects of information that they can put together to identify what happened. Because there will be chatter, and I can bet you, if it's either the Jamaat al-Ahl Sunnah lil-Dawati wal-Jihad, which is most likely the case, or the Islamic State in West Africa province, they would take responsibility for it eventually.